What's up everybody, it's your boy Doody back again with another video, and I wanted to do a video just giving my thoughts on the upcoming interview that DSP will be having on Thursday with the Side Scrollers podcast. And I wanted to give my thoughts on how I envision this playing out for the Side Scrollers podcast and Phil himself. I want to play a couple videos where you hear Craig talking about the interview and also Phil, and it tells you a little bit where their headspace is with this interview. And it sounds like both of them are extremely nervous. It sounds like both of them do not want to do this interview whatsoever. You even hear Phil recently just kind of sounding very worried, and even talking about what could precipitate him leaving the podcast. And one of them, of course, is if Craig mistreats him, and of course that's broad. I mean, that could be him asking about his finances, and Phil may take umbrage and be upset and say, "How dare you ask about my finances, you scumbag?" And he may leave. With Phil, it just all depends. And then Craig is worried that, of course, he's going to get hate for not being hard-hitting enough or not asking the questions properly. I don't think that's the case, in my opinion. I think the follow-up is where Craig may get slammed. If he allows DSP to simply just spew his nonsense without any follow-up, then yeah, he's gonna get a lot of hate. So let's play this quick video. It's maybe about a minute long, and then I'm gonna play Phil's video talking about the upcoming interview.
Okay, I get it. I've seen literally everything that you're talking about, and it's just nonstop. It's just nonstop. Crazy. It's crazy. And I think that's the thing, is like, so I do this interview, and I've said this a couple times so far, but if I do this interview, I can freaking be Barbara Walters and deliver the most hard-hitting interview in the world. And everybody can be like, that was a great interview. But there'll be somebody out there, or several people that'll be like, fuck you, you didn't ask the right questions, or you didn't ask them the way I wanted to ask them. It's like, okay,
Yes. Okay, so we hear our boy here, Craig, talking about and complaining about detractors, people reaching out to him and providing him information on, exactly what Phil has done and what he's currently doing. And I'm not sure why he's complaining about it. I mean, he did say that he really didn't know much about what was going on. So I'm not sure why you're complaining. I mean, if people are coming out and essentially saying, hey, here's some information for you that will help you formulate good questions for Phil, why are you complaining? And I think what it is that he really wanted this just to be Phil just coming on and just talking about the old days. He did not want an interview. He did not want to have to discuss the incident. He didn't want to get into any of that. He just wanted Phil to come on, give a little bit of gravitas to his podcast, maybe get some of his viewers to come over and maybe subscribe. That's what he was hoping for. And of course, no. With Phil, anytime you interact with Phil or anytime you get involved with Phil, you get the vortex. And shame on you for not researching it before deciding to request or ask someone to join your podcast. You should have went and thoroughly researched Phil, what was going on. And if you would have seen everything, a simple Google search, a simple YouTube search would have given you all the information you needed to know about DSP, but you did not do that. So that's your failure, Craig. And then now that you're upset that people are bombarding you and saying, hey, you need to ask these questions, you need to do this, that's on you. And the other thing is, you could have told everyone to kick rocks. You could have said, no, I'm not doing an interview. I'm not an interviewer. I'm simply going to have him on my podcast and just have him talk about whatever they're talking. You could have did that, but you did not do that. You decided that you thought, oh my God, I didn't know so many people cared about DSP. I didn't know he had all this drama. I didn't know he had all these viewers. I am going to take that and use that as an opportunity to make my podcast bigger. So that's what you did, Craig. You decided, okay, even after all the controversy, you could have just said, Phil, never mind. I don't need this crap. I don't want you on my podcast. I'm canceling it. No, you didn't do that. You said, oh, this is potential for me to kick my show into high gear and get some publicity. And now that you see what kind of publicity you're getting, Now you're complaining and moaning and bitching that people are pressing you to take this seriously and ask the hard-hitting questions. And that's on you. That's on you. And yeah, it's true. You could be Barbara Walters and ask the right questions and follow up. You're still going to get people that are going to be annoyed and trash you. And that's par for the course. So suck it up, Buttercup. If you think you have something to gain from this, then with good publicity is going to come the bad publicity. So you just need to suck it up and accept it, or just say, I'm not doing this, I'm out. You could do either one, but you can't do both. You can't do the interview and then complain about it. You know what I'm saying? All right, so the other video I wanted to show real quick was Phil. So Phil, of course, cocky ass Phil, he's been talking about how, oh, just an interview, I'm going to say the same things, there are not going to be any gotcha moments, I really don't care, the typical Phil. But if you listen to him a little bit more, a little closely, you're starting to hear cracks in that facade.
Is if basically I'm feeling like they're completely 1,000,000% attacking me and not listening to my answers and not giving me a fair shake, which I don't think they're going to do. That's number one. Or if like literally the show is going past my normal stream times. No, I'm not going to be going on their show at 9 a.m. and continuing past 4 p.m. That's not happening. That's insane. Now, I don't do my own stream that long. I'm not doing their stream that long either, all right? I don't think that's going to happen either, okay? So.
Okay, the reason why I brought that little clip up is that this kind of started it. Like, I think someone had asked them, well, they were talking about the podcast, and essentially they were talking about, well, what if they blindside you or whatever the case is. And of course, Phil started talking about how, if he feels like he's being mistreated, he's going to leave the podcast. He doesn't care. And if he feels like he's under attack, and Phil, if you make a video about him just being critical about him, he feels like you're attacking him. So I can envision Craig trying to do his job and ask the hard questions, and Phil getting so flustered that he says, "Oh, I'm out. You're mistreating me," and he's out. Or he'll use the excuse of, "Well, this is taking longer than I thought it was going to take. I thought I was going to be here for an hour and a half, maybe 2. You're in the hour 3. It's too long. I'm leaving." He is going to use one of those excuses if Craig presses him in this interview. If he takes it seriously and he presses him, I can see Phil doing one of those things. "You're mistreating me, and I'm out," or "You're taking too long, I'm out." I envision him doing those two things. And then last night he was talking a little bit more about his appearance on the podcast, and he started talking about how, he has to go through this interrogation, and he did talk about how he didn't blame Craig or anything like that. But I'm pretty sure that he could have pushed on Craig and say, "Hey, Craig, I just want to be a normal guest. You don't have to interview me. You can just have me on, and we can just talk about whatever the topic is." And that's true. Craig could have done that, but Craig decided that he wanted to be cute, post a tweet out there a couple weeks back and say, "Oh, I'm finding new information about DSP, laughing emoji," and then putting a tweet out there saying, "Oh, give me some, or let me know what I should ask," or whatever. Craig put that out there like that. He was the one that put it out there. So he opened it up for this to become an interview. So I think Phil, we know Phil. Phil's pretty annoyed about that. And he doesn't like that. He wished that Craig didn't. For example, like he told Craig, "Don't tell anybody. Don't mention that I'm going to be on." And of course, Craig did it because he wanted publicity for the event. And then that's what snowballed all this happening. So I'm pretty sure that Phil is not happy with Craig and the way he, you know how Phil is. Phil, remember Phil and Review Tech USA, how he hated Review Tech USA because he felt like they were having a private conversation via email, and Rich would talk about it on his streams, and how much he hated Rich for doing that. He called him unprofessional. You guys know it. So I can envision Phil being upset with Craig for how this came down. So anyway, okay, so that's kind of my thoughts on it. My thoughts on the podcast is I don't think it's going to be hard hitting. I think Craig may ask a couple hard questions, but I envision just kind of letting Phil slide. He'll follow up. Phil will just say, "No, that's a lie," or "I can't answer that." And I can see Craig just saying, "Okay, I respect that. I understand that." And then look at the camera and basically say, "I asked, I followed up, I did my job." But of course, you know, you can do your job without being rude and constructing a good narrative. So when you do an interview and the person is apprehensive, and you can tell they're apprehensive and they're just going to stick to their story and they're not going to say anything but that, there are ways that you can get answers without getting answers. And I'll talk about that right now. So I've actually had the question by several people. They said, hey, Doody, if you can be on the podcast and ask Phil questions, what would you ask him? And you know, I thought about that pretty long and hard. Like I said to myself, oh, what would I ask him? You know, would I ask him, you know, the trollish shit, the trollish stuff, just to aggravate him, like fake 1 minute man or whatever? And I thought about it, and I came up with like 10 good questions that I would ask him. And then I thought about it, and I said, he's not going to answer that, and there's no real way to get him to answer that. So I really thought about it hard and long, and I actually came up with 3 good questions that I think if, and yeah, you can hardly see it here, but here it is. I think these are questions that can set up a good storyline or narrative for the interview, and it will allow people to really look at Phil and his answers and his follow-ups and make a determination whether he's being truthful or not. So here's my question. So the first question I would ask is, I would say, Phil, can you walk us through the timeline from when you first started speaking with Panda Lee up to the point where she moved in with you? You guys know that I believe when she moved in with Phil, she was 18 years old. Now, just based on dating history, your dating stuff, you don't move in with a girl right away, 3 months, 6 months. It takes a while. So there had to be some period of time of interaction between Phil and Panda Lee. And Phil has stated that she was 18 when she moved in with Phil. She was 18 years old. So if she's 18 years old and you do some subtracting of, okay, well, when was the first time did they meet? When did they talk? When did Phil slide into the DMs, or vice versa? And honestly, it points to her being younger than 18. It just does. If you look at the time frame, if you look at the videos, it points to them interacting before she turned 18. It does. Now, based on the information that how Phil answers it, you can go back and find videos of them moving in with each other and Phil talking about it, right? And you kind of can figure out what Panda Lee's birthday was, and you can do some math, and yeah, it looks very suspicious. It looks like, yes, Panda Lee was not 18 when they first started talking. Now, I'm not accusing Phil of doing anything with her before she turned 18, but I am stating that Phil had a relationship, whatever that was, with someone that was a minor. So, again, he's not accusing anyone. Craig is not accusing him. He's just asking him to walk through the timeline, and then of course he can follow up and say, well, on this date, and just kind of do the math and see what Phil says. And of course Phil would say, well, no, that's not true. That didn't happen. Or no, she was 18. Or even he may even say, well, yeah, she wasn't 18 yet, but we were just friends. We were just talking as friends. And then later on, it became something more when she was 18. He may say something like that. And of course, if he does, he traps himself. Question number 2. You are what is known. Okay, so this is Craig asking the question. You are what is known as on the internet as an e-beggar. You yourself have admitted to overly begging your viewers for money to meet your basic needs like grocery shoppings, pet supply shopping, meal out with your wife, etc. You have also been accused of wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars on items such as WWE champions, DoorDash, etc. How much would you say you spend a month on mobile games? So you've asked a question about several things and it has to do with money, right? But then you get very specific and you say, how much do you spend a month on mobile games, right? And of course, Phil's going to answer and say, well, not much. Most of the mobile games I play are free. And the detractors or the trolls try to say that I spend $5,000 a month on these mobile games, which is a lie. That's what he say. That's what he will say. And he'll spend 20 minutes talking about that, right? And then what Craig can do as a follow-up is say, okay, I want to put a challenge out there for you, Phil, and you can accept it or not, but I want to put the challenge out there. You trust me, right? That's what Craig should tell Phil. And Phil will say, yeah, I trust you, you know. Okay. And then what he's going to say is, all right, let's put all this to rest right here, right now. Let's leave the podcast for 5 minutes and meet privately, me and you. We can do a Discord conference call, a video call, and we can chat, right? And what I would like for you, Phil, to do is on that call, away from the cameras, away from everyone else, is I would like you to open up your Apple Store app, the Apple Store app, the account. And I want you to show me your history of your games that you downloaded, your purchase history, because I believe that's available. I don't have Apple, whatever the store is, but I have Android. I have the Google Play Store. That has every app I've ever downloaded. That has every YouTube transaction that I've ever made. That has every app where I made a purchase, it has everything. So, you know, he can easily pull it up and show Craig his history, right? So he would say, I would like you to show me your history. You're showing it to me. No one else has to see, right? And I will commit and promise to be honest and transparent to the viewers and confirm whether or not you have an absorbent amount of microtransactions. This should put the rest of controversy that you spend large amounts of money on mobile games. Are you willing to do that? Do you trust me? And then you put the onus on Phil, like, do you trust me? So Phil then will have to say, well, yeah, I trust you, but it puts my, you know, he'll say, it puts my family in danger. I don't want to let out that kind of personal information because my detractors are going to use it. And then Craig has to say, well, no one's seeing it. I'm the only one that's going to see it. And you did say you trust me, right? And then you pin Phil in a corner. You pin him in a corner because right there, Craig asked a question, he let him answer it, and then he gave him a follow-up and he gave him an out. He basically said, hey, we can put this to rest right now. You don't have to show your history to everyone in the world. You show it to me, and I'm willing to commit to be honest and say whether there's an absorbent amount of transactions or not. That's what I'm going to do. And then Phil's going to say no. What that does right there is Craig gets an applause. So I'll give Craig an applause for asking that type of question. He asked a question, he let Phil talk, he wasn't belligerent to Phil, and he followed it up and gave him an opportunity to prove it. Where he's not showing everyone in the world his information, he's showing one person that he trusts that can vouch for Phil. You know how Phil likes to say in his videos, he's been talking about how Craig is a third-party participant. He has no stake in this. So if he has no stake in this, you should be able to trust him to show him your information. Show him your Apple Store transactions, and he can come back and say yes, he has a large amount of transactions, or no, he doesn't, and it should put that to rest. Okay, third question: why do you continuously lie? Well, he doesn't have to say lie, but he can use different wording. But in my wording is the question number 3 would be: why do you continuously lie about the information PayPal provides you when someone tips you? And of course, Phil's going to say, the only thing I get is their email. That's it. Nothing more. The email and how much they tip me. That's all I get. Which is a lie. Piece of peace. Myself, I've done it recently with someone where I made a purchase and they saw my information, although none of my information is on PayPal. They got a name and they got, you know, it was a private transaction and away from YouTube or whatever. So I asked them, I said, oh, what showed up? And they're like, oh yeah, I got your email and I got your name. I said, okay, cool, perfect, not a problem. So I could confirm that they got that. They received that information, right? And then you let Phil answer. Phil's going to say, no, the only thing I get is an email and the amount, and that's it. That's it. If people share their information, that's on them, blah, blah. He'll use that excuse. And then the follow-up that Craig can do is Craig can say, okay, I'm going to extend the same invitation that I offered earlier. Let's go off stream for 5 minutes, right? I'm gonna tip you. I want to tip you. I want to use your process and tip you using my PayPal, my credit card, or whatever the case is. And I would like for you to share the information you received with me. So I want you to show me your PayPal or your email or whatever, and show me what information you received from this tip, right? And then I'll come back and promise to my viewers and confirm whether or not you received any additional personal information from me. If you just got the tip amount and the email, I will confirm that. But if you got my name, my real name, I'm going to let everyone know that as well. This should put the rest of controversy. Are you willing to do that? Do you trust me? And again, Phil will say, well, no, because blah, and he'll use whatever excuse. And he's like, I don't want to put my personal finances out there. And he's not. He's basically just doing a screen share with someone. He could block out whatever he wants to block out, but he has to show, as Phil has stated, that all he gets is an email and the amount, which is a lie. He at the minimum gets the person's first and last name, an email, and the amount. And depending on how their account is set up, they can get their address as well. So Phil lies about what information he gets from tips because, of course, he doesn't want his dents to know that, oh, I get a lot of your personal information. And, you know, because that's why a lot of people super chat, because they don't trust Phil at all with their information. So that's really it. I mean, a lot of people have 1,000 questions to ask Phil. I have 3. And the reason why I have 3 is because I think the way Phil will respond to these questions and then the follow-up and his response to the follow-up will establish that Phil is talking out of his ass and lying. If he's not willing to show Craig off screen some information to disprove what he claims is a lie from the detractors, then he's talking shit. He's talking shit. He can't, because this is a perfect way where he can talk to someone that's a third party, nonpartisan person, show him the information, and that person can come back and say, no, it's not true, or yes, it's true. He won't do that, and we all know why he won't do that is because he know he will get busted. He'll get busted on the PayPal lie, and he'll get busted on the WWE champions and so on. That's why he would never do it. But again, these are the questions I would ask and the follow-up, because even if Phil says no, you still establish a narrative that Phil is lying. Phil is lying, because most people will say, well, why won't you take him up on this offer? Craig's a nice guy. He's not going to give out your information. Why not show him? And then he'll come back and convey yes or no, and that'll sow the doubt in people's mind. And hopefully people will go and dig a little bit deeper and then see the other lies and the other things that Phil refuses to prove, but still continues to lie about. And that's what I would do. And I would hope that that my questions, if I had a chance to interview him, those are the type of things that I would ask. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Peace out.